Hello, my name is Gabrielle Derricott, and today I'm going to be talking about The Rock from the Sky by illustrated in 2021 by John Klassen, I think. John Klassen. The topics I'm going to be talking about today, or the main topic I'm going to be talking about today, is talking about friendship and how jealousy can get in the way. I'm also, towards the end, going to be exploring themes of fate a little bit, just from my talking point, and how fate mixed in with the jealousy for this friendship in the story. All right. So while we're reading or going over discussing this story, I want the questions to be: how is communication important in friendships, and how can we learn about toxic friendships from the story? How can we basically take the story's problems and put them in perspective of real life? And if you're going through this in real life, hopefully that'll help you with something. Okay. Toxic friendships and jealousy that stems from them. I think the book really does a great way of explaining toxic friendships. We start off with a turtle and an armadillo, and this turtle and armadillo, they meet all of a sudden one day, and they don't interact like friends do. They more interact of a playful, I'm gonna do this. I'm like, this is my spot's better, blah, blah, blah. It's like a competition between the two. They barely talk, and when they do, it's like both of them hate each other. But both of them still continue to draw back to each other for some reason. This I found out when it was stuff like they were saying, first off, I want to get this point out the way. I think the turtle, is, jealous because the armadillo ends up making friends with the snake later on in the story, and the turtle doesn't know how to express that jealousy, or he doesn't want to lose that friendship, so he starts getting a lot of toxic by saying stuff like, oh, I see how it's just room for two. And then towards the end of the book, he says, maybe I will never come back. These two quotes from the book are exactly what make me believe that he has trouble miscommunicating his feelings. But also at the beginning of the story, he says, I like standing in this spot. It is my favorite spot to stand. I don't ever want to stand anywhere else. This makes me think that the turtle is someone who always thinks he's right. That's just what from my standpoint of view. That's what I got from the book. All right. What I think is it's deeper than what's on the page. So another guiding question that I had throughout this is, why does the turtle always start off alone? And you might be like, oh, well, alone, like, what do you mean? So in the story, he starts off just lonely, and on every page, as you can see, he starts off by himself until somebody walks up to him. And I wondered, why was that? My point of view from this was the turtle has been a loner all his life, and maybe he's seen some other animals and stuff, but he's been a loner and he's used to being by himself. And just because he's used to being by himself, he doesn't know how to translate or communicate feelings towards other animals, which explains how he acts towards the armadillo. Doing like friendly competition. A lot of, in my opinion, a lot of kids go through this. If they've been alone their whole life, then they will treat their one friend like, later on in the relationship, they will treat them like bad, and then you have to realize it throughout the whole entirety. I can relate to this because I was pretty lonely as a kid when I was growing up in school, and when I did have a friend, it felt like I was being rude or mean to them, and I was afraid of losing those relationships because of the fact that I was afraid of nobody liking me, which is why I think the turtle got so mad when the armadillo was hanging out with the snake alone. It's that fear and anxiety that it gets put into you as soon as you see your supposed best friend hanging out with someone new, and it's your only friend too. So that really puts it on heavy. Oh, sorry, my slide stopped working. All right. One question I brought up an example before, yes, but one question I had was, where do we see this in everyday life? How do we see the signs? These types of friendships in everyday life, I see it most on social media, friends in competition with other friends, things like that. Seeing the signs is hard, but it's easier to do it when you know what to look for, if you know what I'm saying. If you have to let go of the friend that constantly insults you. So if you have a friend that you're around and they constantly they're insulting you and they're like, oh, well, I got blah, 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 or she only got this from me, blah, 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 something like that. If you're around friends like that, you need to let them go because they're very toxic, or you need to, take that next step and communicate with them, which brings me to my next point. Friends who cross boundaries you have set is something to also look for. So if you cross that boundary and tell your friend that you're uncomfortable with them insulting you all the time, and they're like, oh, okay, like I'll try and work on it, and they don't work on it, and they continue to overstep that boundary, then that's something to also look out for, because that way, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna work out. If they get jealous when you're around other people or when other people compliment you, these types of friends, they want the compliments all to themselves. If they get jealous and they start insulting you or downplaying your accomplishments, that just means that they are jealous of you, and it could really, really ruin a relationship and a friendship. If they're using you for your resources that you have instead of valuing time together. So if they're using you, let's say you have a car and they're like, oh, and they're like, oh, okay, well, I need a ride to school, but they don't talk to you during that ride and they treat you like trash, and then they keep using you for a ride. Communicate that to them, and if they feel as if they are not doing that and that you are being a little, crazy or whatever, you need to cut them off. I've had a situation happen like this with my friend, and she texted her friend and told her friend that she felt like she was using them for her money. And my friend texted her and communicated with her and said, oh, well, I don't feel like I'm using you for a ride. And she just started popping off on her, and my friend had to cut her out of her life because, she was really, really toxic for her. Also, before I go, I wanted to talk a little bit about the fate within the story. I find it really interesting how the armadillo is used as some sort of fate seeker or fate teller. He, in the beginning of the story, says, I don't have a good feeling about this spot, and the turtle doesn't trust him. And when the turtle moves out the spot, that's when the big rock from the sky comes down and, smashes the turtle's spot. And the turtle, I don't think he wants to admit it, so he continues to stay on the spot. I feel like if he had trusted the armadillo earlier on, then it would have been so much easy. He wouldn't have almost died, basically. But yeah, that's my take on the rock from the sky. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you have any questions.